Hello, and welcome to the weekly energy weather report. We have the lunar eclipse coming up tomorrow. Give me a quick shout out, a hello when you jump on with me. I want to make sure that I'm live in all of the places. So, hey, how are you doing? Have you been dreaming lately? I'm very curious because with this full moon it's a lunar eclipse and it's a super moon, but it's happening very, very close to Neptune, which is affecting so many people's dreams. Let me know in the comments if you've been dreaming a lot. So I'm going to just see if I can get rid of this. Oops, holy cannoli. There we go. Needed to get rid of a little pop-up. So let's jump in, and I'm going to just invite you to place your hand on your heart, and we are going to pull a card. And first, I want to pull a card. I'm noticing that I wasn't live over here. First, I want to pull a card for the lunar eclipse. What's most important that you need to know? The lunar eclipse happens tomorrow night, 10:34 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:34 p.m. Pacific. I believe it's 3:30 in the morning for my friends across the pond. But just place a hand on your heart, and we are going to just tune in and ask, what's the most important thing you need to know about this lunar eclipse tomorrow? The Judgment card. This is such a beautiful card. This particular card is all about having faith in the sense of you are opening to something so much bigger than yourself. It's a rebirth. It's an awakening. It's what I really see as this moment of spiritual enlightenment. It's this recognition that we're more than the physical body, but at the same time, as a spiritual being having this human experience, we also have an incredible physical body that we can experience life through and with. This is a real calling to awaken and see the path that you've been on. Is it truly in your highest and best interest? When the Judgment card comes up, the traditional deck, you see the Archangel Gabriel on his trumpet, and he's calling. It's, that moment where everyone is being called back up to heaven, all of the souls. And it's this reckoning, and it's this moment where we stand before our creator, God, universe. And when I was growing up, my mom, who such an incredibly talented person across all fields, and her particular passion was in music, and she sang, and she would always say growing up, she learned this from her great aunts who were nuns, that if you didn't use the talents and gifts that you were given by God, that it would be a great disservice. It would kind of be like, no thanks, I don't want that gift. Like it would just basically hurt their feelings. And so she spoke about, because she had an incredible voice, and she would feel very badly if she wasn't singing. So she often sang for churches. She taught students, wonderful, beautiful group of children along the years who studied with her. But she always tried to honor God with the gift that he had given her, or that they had given her. So I encourage you, this is that awakening, and that's what eclipses do. They shift us out of our complacency, where it's like, well, this is okay. I was talking with a friend who is really getting into astrology, and she has her regular daytime job with corporate, and she's very, very good at it and very, very successful, but it's just not lighting her up. The astrology is lighting her up, and her heart wants to pursue that. And it really, truly, deep down inside, is a very strong calling for her. So finding that balance and honoring that path and not ignoring it is important. And the eclipses, what they tend to do is they tend to say, it's kind of like where we're nudged out of the nest, where we may have hesitated in jumping before. The universe says, this is going to do you good. It might sting a little bit if you haven't already taken that leap and you haven't already jumped, but in the end, it's for your highest and best good. So for example, I've had clients who had ended up in, a job that was stable and steady, and it was okay. There was no upward mobility and no growth, but they knew what to expect. And, they liked the people they worked with. There was no real complaints. It didn't challenge them. It didn't excite them, but they were okay. Steady income. And then the eclipse came along and the job disappeared and the person was thrown a bit. But the thing is that eclipse activated something within their chart, their soul's blueprint, that said, hey, there's something out there that's so much better and bigger for you. So this might look like an ending. This might look like something completely coming to a close, but it's to help get you in the right place so that you can truly step onto the path into the life that you were born to live. So hello, Julie, yay, you can see me, fantastic. Oh, I think my mouse ran out of batteries. It's been an interesting technical morning. So I wanted to just say good morning, all moonbeam dreamers out there. Welcome to your weekly energy weather report, where the moon and stars guide you to your soul's true path. I'm so excited to have you. And I was really tuning into, all of the curious empathic seekers who come to play at the beginning of this week, like this with all of us, all of you, all of our friends, the community that gathers here. And I truly, truly feel that you're here for a reason. You didn't catch this broadcast by accident, but there is something calling you, something stirring deep within you, that you know that you're meant for something so much more. And it is my joy and honor to guide you. I can't think of words. Need more coffee this morning. And by the way, if we haven't met, my name's Irina Miller. I'm an astrologer, spiritual life guide, and an energy alchemist. And I love helping curious seekers like yourself find the sacred tools and practices that enable you to step onto that path you were born to live. So let's jump in. The week ahead, the big news is the eclipse that's happening tomorrow. I have a special ritual that I'm going to be sharing with you and my Moon Club members. I'm going to be bringing much deeper practice to all of you. So we'll go over that in our Moon Club group. And if you haven't checked out Moon Club yet, oh my goodness, why not? I am going to post that in the comments if I can, but it's irinamiller.co/club. Check that out. Okay, with that being said, let's talk about the overall phase of the moon this week. That's where I love to begin, because the moon phase is going to give you a good idea of how your energy will flow this week. First thing to know is with eclipses, the eclipse that we have tomorrow, you feel that building 3 months before and 3 months afterwards. There's an effect around eclipses. So if you think back through August, through July, and even into June a little bit, the stirrings of the eclipse had started to affect you already. Full moon, aka lunar eclipses, are about endings, completion. Something's coming to a wrap. It's a time of success. You've graduated to the next level, even if you feel like, wait, I wasn't ready for that Band-Aid to come off. It's an opportunity for you to look back and reflect. Full moons are great for that, and say, wow, I poured my energy, my time, my heart into this, and this is what it blossomed into or didn't blossom into. So no shame, no guilt. We're just objectively looking at where have I been spending my time, because the eclipse is meant to say, well, if you haven't been spending time on an area that has been turning out well for you, we're going to help get you back onto the right path so that you are pouring time and energy into that right space. It's an exciting time with an eclipse. Not only does an ending kind of sometimes bring that bittersweet energy, but there's the excitement of what's new on the horizon coming in. And anytime you have a full moon, especially with a lunar eclipse, I want to invite you to realize, what have you been holding on to so tightly? You can't welcome the new things into your life. You can't receive the gifts if you've been holding on tightly. So simply opening your hands to release what you've held on to so tightly enables you to welcome in the gifts, those unknown blessings coming your way. Now, how to make the most of this energy, because we have the eclipse that kind of kicks off the week, and then we go into a waning moon, still affected by the eclipse. But whenever you have that waning gibbous phase after a full moon, it's about releasing and letting go. You probably already have some kind of inkling or intuitive hit or notion as to what needs to shift in your life. It might be a big thing, it might be a little thing, depending on where the eclipse falls in the natal chart for you. And if you don't know what that is, it's just a map of the stars when you were born, but this is affecting Piscean energy, so Pisces and Virgo. So any of my Pisces or Virgos out there, you might be feeling this a little more strongly than the others. Pay attention to your dreams, because Neptune is highly involved with this eclipse. The ritual that I'm going to encourage all of you to do, and I'll go deeper for Moon Club members, is a dream ritual. And to do this, why are we doing this? Well, this particular eclipse is in Pisces. It's connected to Neptune. And all of that water energy makes it an incredible time for dreamers, for intuition, and for that ability to really pick up on your feelings. Very, very important that all of my empaths out there, that you stay grounded and you stay rooted in your energy, because you might be picking up on other people's feelings and emotions right now. And it's important that you know what belongs to you and what doesn't, because you might absorb it as if it were your own. And then that can make it confusing to hear intuitive guidance. You might second guess it. You might doubt it if you're kind of living through someone else's lens. So a ritual that I would encourage everyone to do is, if you can take a bath or in the shower, use like a salt scrub or an Epsom salt bath just to calm yourself before bed tonight. Nice warm bath, nice warm shower. Use a little salt if you have it, the Epsom salt in the tub or a salt scrub in the shower, because the water energy of Neptune is going to be very, very healing. It's going to relax you so that you can settle into sleep more easily. And the Epsom salts are great, gives you that extra boost of magnesium so you can sleep a little bit better. When you get ready to go to sleep at night, I'm going to encourage you, if you can, have a blue crystal by your bed. Maybe it's a lapis lazuli. That's the one we're using in Moon Club this month. This is our crystal of the month. It helps open up intuition, open up your authentic voice. Maybe you use something like, there's so many blue crystals. You've got sodalite, you've got, you've got this one that I'm wearing, and the Larimar. Lots of different types, but blue, anything that kind of reminds you of water. And if you don't have that, that's fine. I'm going to encourage you, after your bath, maybe you have the crystal by your bed, and have a little notepad with pen or paper. And as you go to sleep, tell yourself, I'm going to remember my dreams. And ask your question. If you've been looking for intuitive guidance on something, and say, dear God, dear universe, whoever you connect with as a higher source, ask, maybe it's your higher self, what's my next best step? Because so many of us on this path, we come to that fork in the road, and maybe we only think there's a left and a right. And often there's another option that we may not be aware of. So you ask, what is most important that I need to know? What's my next best step here? What action can I take to help my dreams unfold? Write the question down in your notebook, go to sleep, and first thing in the morning, before you really fully open your eyes, I want you to catch a thread. Because not everyone remembers their dreams, I know. But if you can catch a thread of a feeling, like maybe you felt anxious, or maybe you felt a little excitement, or maybe you felt love, or maybe you felt curiosity, pull on that and think, was there a color associated with it, or a song? I woke up with a song in my head today, and it's very interesting. And so just capture that, because as soon as you capture that little thread and you keep kind of pulling on it, the rest of the dream will unfold. Jot down as soon as you can whatever you remember, even if it's gibberish and nonsense. That's okay, because it will capture the essence of the dream. Intuitive messages will really come through in the dream world. And if you find, I just can't dream, I don't remember them, daydream. Stare out the window for a little bit. Just soften your eyes, put on a good piece of music, and daydream. So that's another alternative option. But full moon lunar ritual, a lot of intuitive downloads coming through. Allow yourself that time to take a deep breath, to ground, and know that if anything is shifting out of your life, it is for good reason. It's to make room for something even better. Okay, so if you have questions about that, definitely pop them into the comments. Otherwise, let's jump into the week and we'll look at each day. So Monday, using my moon journal to keep me on track. Write down, moon starts in Pisces. So with a Pisces moon, highly empathic, big feelings, emotions. If you get overwhelmed with the emotion, we need to be mindful that we don't use escapism to throw us off of the track. So meaning, what we're really supposed to be doing. Escapism could be anything, we get lost in shopping, eating, sleeping, reading books, watching shows. Use that part to daydream, but use it consciously, saying, okay, I feel all these big feelings. So what I'm going to do to help move the emotions through me is I'm going to put on a really good piece of music and maybe move my body a little bit. Or maybe I'll take 20 minutes and I'll watch a funny video to uplift my spirits. But set a container around it so that you can daydream effectively and not escape into it. So Monday, what's most important that you need to know? Oh, this guy is popping out. Ah, the beautiful Empress. So that everything grows in its own time, that there is abundance and prosperity coming. It's just, we can't rush the process. Just like the gestational cycle takes 40 weeks, roughly, we can't rush that baby in like 2 weeks' time. It takes time. And you have the beautiful moon up there with the moon cycles, beautiful earth represented, knowing that this is a very fertile and abundant time. Use your imagination wisely. Tap into it through music, through daydreaming, water-based activities, and take note of whatever comes up. It's beautiful time. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Tuesday, what's most important that you need to know for the eclipse day? We already know the big eclipse energy that's coming. 8 of Wands, good news coming in. This to me signals intuitive messages coming through. Take a lot of time and space to do some full moon ritual that'll enable you to be able to hear that guidance. Because here's the thing, intuitive guidance comes through. Look for these 3 things in a very quiet indoor voice. It's not going to be loud and shouting. It's going to be quiet indoor voice. It's going to be love-based. It's not going to come out of fear or a false sense of urgency. And then the third thing is that it's repeated. It's consistent. I usually ask for the message at least 3 times. That way it's like, okay, I want to make sure I'm not making this up. I want to make sure that I'm not getting lost in the daydream. Is this really intuitive guidance coming through? So it's indoor voice, it's love-based, and it's consistent. All right, look for those messages on Tuesday. Wednesday. So Wednesday, the moon moves from Pisces into Aries. And Aries moon is bold and quick. So you might have gotten all these intuitive downloads on Monday and Tuesday. And then it's like, okay, I just need to take some action. I need to rush into it. Act now, think later. Or, that saying they say, do it anyway and ask for forgiveness later. Oh my gosh. I don't know that I could do that easily, but be careful with that Aries moon. You're going to have the bold courage to go after a dream. Do so mindfully. So how can you make that most of that moon and Aries energy? Seeing who's popping up, catching my eye. 4 of Pentacles. Know when to take action, right? So that song, the card song, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You guys know that song? The card playing gambler song? I think Kenny Rogers sang it way back in the day. But this is like know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So when you're taking action, you've gotten intuitive insights and downloads, realize that with an eclipse, things don't have to happen on a dime. At 10:34 p.m. Eastern, all of the things don't have to happen. I was talking about this with one of my clients because, it's hard sometimes to wrap our mind around the idea of we have these astrological events, whether the moon's in Aries, whether we're having a full moon lunar eclipse. And it's like, okay, on that day, at that time, I'll do all these things. But it's really an approximation. We feel the energy building at apexes and then it wanes. Sometimes with some aspects, you feel them sooner rather than later. Sometimes you feel them afterwards more. But there's this general awareness that we want to be able to create. So for most people, as you've been building into the eclipse energy, you might have noticed certain areas in your life where it was like, oh, I used to have like a weekly meeting with my boss or my coach. And all of a sudden it went from weekly meetings to bi-weekly to all of a sudden I'm not even really talking with them anymore. I don't know what's going on. So you start to kind of reflect and you look back and you can see in hindsight, like the patterns. Maybe it's something with food because the Pisces Virgo connection or access is all about health and well-being. Maybe it's something with your stomach and you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I introduced this food back into my diet. And I can see looking back how that affected my digestion, how it made me sluggish or how it made me more energetic. So you're just evaluating, you're looking back over time and you're planning for the future. You don't have to make all the changes at once. It's over time. Just like you might realize, things feel a little off at work. It feels a little off with this coach. And you say, okay, well, I have a lot invested here. I'm not going to just cut everything and run, but but I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to plan ahead so I don't get caught by surprise. You know, I don't get the pink slip by surprise, you know, like the job disappears or, you know, you get dropped by some experience. But you say, I'm going to prepare. I'm just going to kind of look at my options, remembering that there's always more than two, and use that full moon lunar eclipse ritual to help you figure it out. Okay, so that was Wednesday's energy. Thursday, moon still in Aries. What's most important you need to know about Thursday's energy? 9 of Wands, stick with it. You're closer than you realize. Yes, it's been a struggle. You have been doing so many things at once, carrying so many projects. And what I encourage you to do is ask yourself, can you put down one of those projects right now? Do they all need to be worked on at this very moment? Or can you say, you know what? I'm going to just put that to the side and I'll handle that in a couple of weeks or a month, because you were closer than you realize. You've come so far. You do have the strength to finish that, you know, project, to cross the finish line. And what's going to make it easier is if you just release something and let go of it. And this reminds me a little bit of the story that Elizabeth Gilbert shares in one of her books. I think it was Big Magic, where she was talking about she got an idea for a story. She jotted it down, but she just didn't have time with all the other projects to fully work on it. So she came to a place because she knew the story really wanted to be told, to get out there in the world. And she was like, okay, I'm going to release you, story. Go ahead and find another author that can bring this into the world. And sure enough, her good friend came up with the same idea out of the blue. Elizabeth didn't talk with her at all about it. And her friend brought the story through. Now it was, you know, it's going to be different because it came through her friend's lens, but it was a general story. So maybe there's been a project you've been working on, but it's like, oh, I just don't have the time. And I know this needs to happen. So I'm going to be okay with letting it go and welcoming other things and making the room for the other things in my life. Okay. Because otherwise what happens is we get really frustrated and we're like, why aren't my dreams coming true? And I just can't do it. If you ever feel like giving up, take a moment, rest, take a nap, and then come back to it. Because usually we're tired. And this card popped out as I was shuffling, just a reinforcement that you have all of the tools at your fingertips that you need in order to finish the projects and to make the dreams a reality. Just know, again, when to hold them, when to fold them, and it's okay. Don't think you've got to get it all done right now at once. I'm saying this to myself because I know I definitely feel like that often. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Good morning, Paulette. So great to have you. Okay, so Friday's energy, we move into Taurus, which is so lovely for the weekend because Taurus energy, they know how to have a good time, how to be very down to earth, how to enjoy things, good food, good wine, great clothes, and good music. I'm going to just ask what's most important you know for Friday. 6 of Wands. Celebrate your wins. So that full moon lunar eclipse energy that's saying reflect on your successes. What has brought you here? What might you want to change and let go of this week? Say, wow, you know what? I worked really hard on that project and I got it to this point. I'm ready to let it go and be brought through another. I'm going to celebrate my successes. Recognize your accomplishments. Receive that moment where your friends are lifting you up too. And they're saying, you've done such an incredible job. Wow, look how far you've come. I would encourage you Friday, and this will sound funny, but do you guys ever do karaoke? Do you ever go out? I don't even know if there are karaoke bars around. I haven't been in a long time, although I think we have one in Cincinnati still. And, just go out, have fun, get up there, be playful, and spend that time. I think of sometimes Bacchus, the Roman god of pleasure, when I think of Taurus, in the sense of, they know how to have a good time. They know how to enjoy themselves, the food, the wine, the fun. Sometimes, part of the goal, let me just kind of backstep here. All the zodiac signs, even though we might be born, with the sun in Libra or the moon in Cancer or whatnot, we still are here and able to experience all the other zodiac signs at one point or another in our life. And that's part of the joy, to live through that lens. It might feel a little uncomfortable. It might feel out of our norm, but it's good. It's like going to a friend's house and tasting food for a first time, or, doing something like they say, oh, let's go water skiing. And you're like, I've never been before. It'll be a blast. Come on. Like, okay. So just to enjoy yourself. And sometimes through the stories, we can access that more easily. Hello, Hannah. Great to have you. So Friday was Taurus, Saturday, Taurus energy still. So good time to enjoy yourself this weekend. I'm going to ask what's most important that you know on Saturday. Ace of Cups, love. Love, a gift of love, new beginnings of love, falling in love. When, it's not always easy to let go of anything, relationships, food, jobs, items, physical items in the house. But if you allow yourself that opportunity to say, there's a lot of opportunity for love to be experienced here. First, and I love this aspect of Marie Kondo's work where, you hold the item and you're like, thank you for providing me such joy in my lifetime. This was my grandma's cup. I just inherited this. She is up in heaven and she pops up. She sends me little turtles to say hello. But now I think of her and this is a treasure in my life. But in order to make room for this, my treasures from my grandma, I did have to let go of some other things in my cupboard. And what's funny was I had this one very special bowl and it ended up breaking on me. And I was so sad. But in order to make room for a lot of my grandma's things, some of these other items I had, which I did treasure before, I had to let go of. So rather than cry too much that the bowl was broken or that I've had to say goodbye to things, I'll hold them and say, thank you for bringing me such joy and bringing me such love, and release them. And if it's in good form, sharing it with someone else so it can bless their life. Yes, Mahendra, yeah, be careful. Yeah, be careful about breaking all of my wonderful things. But yeah, this mug now reminds me of my grandma and I get to use it. So for Saturday's energy, approach it with love. If you're still in that letting go phase, whether it's you're cleaning out your home, and it's great too, this Virgo energy, we're wrapping it up this week, take advantage of it, you can clean the house from top to bottom, let go of the old things, prepare for the holidays and busy season coming, because Sunday, happy birthday, Libra friends, happy autumnal equinox. We have such an exciting time as we get ready to switch into the next season, and the moon's switches into Gemini, into that curiosity, want to ask questions, see what's happening. And we ask what's most important that you need to know for Sunday. Justice. Oh, and how beautiful for the Libra, the scales come up. Isn't that interesting? So in a week where there's a major revelation with that lunar eclipse, where something is illuminated and brought to our attention, like you might have thought, wow, I thought this was okay. I thought this was good enough. I never questioned it. And now I realize there's a bigger world out there. There's so many more opportunities. The Justice card is saying deep down inside, I love how her eyes are open in the reflection. She's got them closed here, but she's looking within. Within she knows, and she knows that those scales, that it has to be a divine energetic exchange where she might have been pouring her energy and time into something that wasn't bringing the joy back to her heart in such a way that lit her up. The Justice card is a reminder that we're striving to be honest and truthful with ourselves and maintain that integrity and not trick ourselves into an experience where, do you ever do that and you're like, oh, this is fine. This is good enough. It'll be okay. Sometimes we do that. It's part of that making do, or that aspect of, making the best of a situation. And that's a beautiful gift. But there are moments where there are these other beautiful offerings of grace right at your fingertips that you might not even see. So I wanted to say for this week, quick wrap up, lunar eclipse that happens on Tuesday. I highly encourage you do a little bit of a lunar ritual. That could be with water. Definitely take note of your dreams that you have that night. And I close with this. May the moonlight lead you and the starlight inspire you. Until next week, my Moonbeam Dreamers, I look forward to sharing more energy weather reports with you. Have a great, great day and much love. Bye, guys.